Greetings and welcome to the ROI Clear podcast. My name is Ray Hightower, and today we are fortunate to have as our guest Mr. Justin Wawrzyniak. Justin Wawrzyniak is founder and CEO of NoStressDTS.com, and we're looking forward to hearing more about that. Justin earned his bachelor's in mechanical engineering from Florida State University, and as he says on his LinkedIn profile, he summarizes his time at FSU as football, engineering, and golf. After college, he honed his skills as a process engineer, and today he runs a multifamily real estate company, and we're looking forward to digging into that further. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Justin. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you, Ray. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yep, glad to have you here. So glad. And to kick things off, why don't you give us an elevator pitch? And for those who are new to the ROI Clear podcast, Justin is on an elevator with someone he wants to influence. So, Justin, what would you say to that person in the course of an elevator ride?
Yep. First things first, you gotta start with your network is your net worth. This is going to be the principle that I live my life by, and it actually started for me about 10 years ago. So you had a great introduction for me. What people aren't aware of and not on the introduction is 10 years ago, I actually was arrested for the second time. So had a problem childhood, just degenerate type stuff. And it turned into in a jail cell. I'm sitting there overnight, and that exact phrase goes through my mind, excuse me. Your network is your net worth. And from there, I've taken that and I've ran with it, right? I got rid of anybody in my life that's holding me back, and I started surrounding myself with high performers. Fast forward, did engineering, ended up graduating top of my class engineering as a result, direct result of that philosophy. But then was on the wrong side of the cash flow quadrant when I got into the investment world, and the real world. And that's when I wanted to make the switch to the investment world as a business owner, entrepreneur, and investor. And that's when I found real estate investing. And I still hold that philosophy true. Get surrounded by, individuals like yourself, Ray, other, high powered real estate investors that are doing great things with their life and having a ton of success. Those are the people I want to be in the room with. And hopefully on this elevator ride, I was also in the room or in the elevator with someone that's pretty high powered in that degree as well, and we can find some synergies to work together.
Justin, that is a remarkably inspiring story. I know people, certainly you know people who've gone through the incarceration and come out, and they don't always come out as well as you did. And something you said there, while you were there, you realized that your network is your net worth. How did you come to that realization? Because that is you started from a very, behind in the race, but you worked your network, and look at you, you're a mechanical engineering graduate and a CEO of a successful real estate company. What happened that turned you around? Was there a person? Was it your faith in God? What was it? What was it that did that for you?
It's a combination of all of them. You mentioned like faith in God. I have realized that reflecting back, some of the best times in your life will happen after the worst times, right? It's almost like you have to go through that valley, that season of not great for you to really maybe realize the opportunity out there. And so that's a component of it. But for me, the real like aha moment was it's network is your net worth. You can also rephrase that as you're the sum of your 5 closest friends. And if I took an inventory of my 5 closest friends at the time, well, they were doing dumb stuff like I was. And so, well, I was doing dumb stuff. So then it's like, okay, well, let me see what happens when I start surrounding myself with high performers, people that are focused on the future and improving and being better and being successful. And it was a complete 180, and it's been so impactful to see there. And then that's why I try to take that same principles and apply it to all aspects of life, right? Get around people that you want to become. Get in a room, be the dumbest one in a room. That's the goal. Is so then you get elevated by everybody else. And that's why I invest in coaching programs. That's why I invest in masterminds, just networks. Go to a bunch of local meetups for real estate. It's just you got to get surrounded by other people doing what you're doing and having success doing it.
Be the dumbest one in the room. That takes a lot of humility, man.
Yes,
That
it
takes
does.
humbleness. That I love that you're saying that. It reminds me of something. There's a musician, Pat Metheny, who says, if you want to be a great musician, make sure you're in the band where you're not the best one. It's the same philosophy.
How funny. Yep, that applies right there.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, so we come out of incarceration, and then after that, what was your next step? You're out, you've decided, and certainly there's a mindset shift that you went through there. So you've got this mindset shift. What was your next step?
Next step was engineering. I did the quote unquote American dream of, hey, go get a great degree, parlay that great degree in a strong, safe, secure job. And then essentially my thought process was I was just going to work till I was 55, 60, whatever it may be, and then hopefully retire on my 401k program.
Hmm.
But as you know, that's not where my story is now. I'm
Right.
180 from that, right? I'm full-time real estate multifamily investor. And so
Hmm.
what happened for me was I did an inventory and I looked at essentially, I'm brand new to the engineering degree. Got an awesome job. Like, don't get me wrong, I
Yes.
had an awesome job in pharmaceuticals, kick butt job, very cush. But then I looked at what's the future? And when you look at the future, we'll find people in the company that are the future. Like, that's the goal, right? To get to them.
Right.
And I remember there was a Christmas party, and I really hope he's not listening to this. My old director, there was a Christmas party. We went to his house, and on the
Yes.
surface, it was the American dream, the perfect situation, right? He had loving wife, two kids running around. We were down in their basement of their large 2-story home in the suburbs, right? And I thought, man, this is great. But I know that he spends 80 hours a week at work, so he's never even home. So this is all like this facade almost of like this American dream, but he's just putting time in for money output, right? So it's like the harder he works, the more money he makes, but that's like, time is that finite resource. So that for me was kind of let's see if I can do something differently with my life and maybe try to do it early on. I'm 28 now. At the age of
Mhm.
25 was actually when I decided, hey, I'm going to leave engineering and go into real estate full time because that will that will give me the long-term, control over, freedom of time that I'm looking for and hopefully retire a lot sooner as well.
So you were at this director's house,
Yeah.
and essentially you could see your future self
Yep.
based on the path that you had taken so far. And you decided that at the age of 25, you're 28 now, but at the age of 25, you could go in one direction and, get the nice house and the pool and all that stuff, but then be working 80 hours a week and never enjoy it. When you're home, you're
Yep.
basically sleeping while everybody else enjoys it. You're sleeping, probably in a very nice bed, but
Yep.
you're sleeping, or you could put systems in place and put a plan in place so that you could enjoy that early on.
Yep.
So those are your paths.
And yep. And the passive income was always the dream at that point because I thought, hey, if you want to travel, if you want to do this or that, if I want to play golf all day long, if I want to go to every single football game for the Indianapolis Colts, right? Travel around the country watching them play football. It doesn't matter. Whatever I want to do, whatever I'm passionate about. When all your income is tied directly to you working, active income, it
Hmm.
limits your freedom. And the biggest freedom for me, everyone says financial freedom. That for me a big component of financial freedom is the freedom of time to
Right.
choose how you want to spend it. And ideally, you have a strong investment, real estate investment portfolio that's providing you passive income while you sleep. And then you can kind of do whatever you want uh,
Right.
when you have some free time. Yeah.
Yeah. And time freedom is free. You got to free up your time in order to, well, really, in order to do anything else. I like the way Dan Sullivan does it. He has four freedoms. The first one is time. He says time, freedom, freedom of money, freedom of relationship, and freedom of purpose.
Love that. It's funny because I kind of the last two there, I kind of well, actually the three below it, I kind of factor into time because as soon as you have time, you have the ability to focus on new business ventures that come up, new opportunities because you're not worried about the finances, right? You can start building some strategic relationships because in this business, relationships, people are everything, right?
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then and then you can kind of start going after some larger investment properties and stuff like that. So I love what Dan Sullivan says. It kind of all factors into once you have mastery of your time, it frees up so much more to essentially expand on your wealth building and do it even faster exponentially.
Right. Right. Now let's dig deeper into the relationships. You you said earlier your network is your net worth, and that's something Tony Robbins has said something like that, and Rod Cleef had said something like that. A lot
Yeah.
of people shared that. That is what I would consider to be universal wisdom. That's like the universe is built around that. That's amazing. What are some actionable steps that someone can do to follow in your path? You once you know your network is your net worth. All right. Once you know that, what do you do about it? How did you go about executing on that philosophy?
Great question, right? How do we take action, right? It's always good to have
Yes.
this theory out there, but what can I do today to start heading in the direction that the cash flow cowboy did, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
first step first is education. Whether that's listening to podcasts. So obviously if you're listening to this podcast right now, kudos to you. You're on the right path. Bigger pockets books. Rich Dad Poor Dad was a very impactful book for me as well. And that's kind of the mindset shift, right? So now you're feeling a little dangerous. What do you do from there? I
Hmm.
highly, highly, highly recommend local meetups. And this is
Mm,
like the step one, local real estate meetups. And you can go on
yes.
Facebook and you can go on meetup.com and you can search real estate meetups and you'll find some, especially if you're in a big city, you'll find some. Now weed through them, go to a bunch of them over the first 6 months, find which one you feels like home for you. And those can be your potential partners as you start moving forward, or at least they give you a pulse on the local market. They can give you recommendations for contractors, for management companies, this and that, everything you need to be successful, right?
Right.
So that's like the base level. You can probably get a deal or two done in your local market doing that. But if you really want to start scaling and kind of explode, I highly recommend a mastermind. And right, so
Mm,
I've joined a mastermind, I've joined multiple masterminds, and this is essentially I'm paying money to join a network of people with one common goal, and that's buying a bunch of real estate, scaling their portfolio, and achieving financial freedom, right?
mm,
So, of course, I want to be around them because then they're all encouraging me. I'm encouraging them. We're partnering together. We're doing deals together. We're going to in-person events together. So it's just a great way of you're literally creating your network. And then as a result, your net worth is growing. So
right. Right.
that's kind of the next evolution after those local meetups is actually invest in getting around people and kind of look up masterminds. I think it's from the book Think and Grow Rich, I believe is kind
Yes.
of the philosophy of a mastermind. But look up real estate. Ours specifically, I do multifamily properties. So that's my mastermind is focused on buying a bunch of multifamily properties. And that's what we've done. We've done 7 deals in the last since 2021. So it's pretty impressive how you can scale once you start getting around the right people.
Get around the right people. And I like the hierarchy that you propose. You start off at the meetups. That's no money investment. There's a time investment, certainly a time and a commitment, but there's no monetary investment. The advantage there, if somebody starts off doing that, they might find out that this isn't for them. And if they don't like it, that's useful information. You have not spent money. And then after that, go in and do the masterminds. I'm also a big fan of masterminds. You got to
Yeah.
come together. Napoleon Hill nailed it.
Yep.
You
That's
know,
what it was. Napoleon Hill. That's right. Yep.
Napoleon Hill, 100 years ago when he wrote Think and Grow Rich and Laws of Success and all those books that he wrote. So yeah, he nailed it. The idea two or more minds coming together, there's a third mind, and then there's amazing things we're able to do together. So that's
Incredible. Yep.
yes. Do you find yourself giving advice to other people coming up, like, young people, high school, college kids coming up and saying, "Hey, Justin, how do I do this thing that you did? You're so awesome, Justin. When I grow up, I want to be like you." Do you find yourself giving advice?
I have started giving more advice of late. I think, just 3 years ago, I was leaving my engineering job. So it's kind of crazy full circle to be like, wow, I'm already giving advice to other people. But that's how quickly things can change, and that's how quickly you can have success in the business if done right, right? If you have the right mentors, if you have the right people around you. And so one of the big things is anytime I go to events and stuff, anybody that's like under 30 just seems to I gravitate and I get to try to impart some wisdom. And what I've realized is that under 30 or even under 35, whatever it may be, and some other people could relate to this. I don't know your financial system situation, but usually you don't have a ton of money just laying around, right? You
Hmm.
you have to get into the real you want to get into real estate, you want to scale this massive portfolio, build all this wealth, and you're like, well, I'm essentially broke, so how the heck am I going to do that? And the
Yes,
good news is there is a way to do it, right? You're gonna have to take some time. It's way easier if you just have a ton of money that you can invest in your deals yourself. You'll scale
right.
faster. But there is the ability to add value to a partnership, and partnerships are required to buy deals, a partnership by finding good deals to invest in. And as a
Mm,
result, you can add maybe parlay your acquisition fee into a little bit of equity and work with some people with more experience and watch what they do on the asset management side. And maybe they bring all the money, the capital. And this way, yeah, you might not own 100% of all your deals at first, but you're doing deals with some sort of equity percent. And you're adding value to other people by finding good deals to invest in, and that is directly related to how much effort do you put in, how hard do you hustle. And it doesn't matter if you're 15 years old or 55 years old, anybody can find deals if they put the time in, right? So that kind of helps a lot of younger investors kind of get over that limiting belief of, hey, I have to have a bunch of money to do real estate.
yep. And I think you hit on a key point: add value. Figure out how you can add value. It could be exactly what you said. It could be that they're very effective at finding deals for people to invest in. Or it could be they're very effective at finding money. What do they say? It's deals and dollars. Are you very good
Deals
at
and
finding
dollars. Yep.
deals? Very good at finding dollars. So there it is across the board. So that's how they can tap in. Meet people at the meetups. When you're ready, you can move on to the mastermind board. At the meetups, you can start doing deals there. In fact, the deals that you do can finance your adventures in the mastermind. So there you go.
Yep.
That all works together. Wow, there's so much that we could talk about. There's so much I want to ask you about. I do want to get to what we talked about earlier. You mentioned in your profile that the connection between football, engineering, and golf. You summarize your time at FSU as football, engineering, and golf. Unpack that for us, if you will.
So my freshman year, I was blessed to be there for our national championship run at Florida State
Yeah.
University for the football team. So that was incredible. So I got there. I'm like already off to a good start football program wise, and it's incredible. I love people. So when you have an atmosphere like that, you have a large school with a ton of people. That was just so cool. And I'm always a big like sports fan, right? It's just a way that
Yes.
we can all relate and connect via sports and talking about sports, whether you're playing them or not. And then
Mm-hmm.
the golf and the engineering kind of went a little more hand in hand because our engineering campus was right across the street from the FSU golf course. So while I was a student, as soon as I had some free time from engineering, we just walk across the street and hit range balls, go maybe walk nine after class or something like that. So I got actually pretty good pretty good at golf, and I've realized it's a nice parlay or nice transfer into the real estate world, because a lot in business in general is a lot of business does actually kind of get done, maybe at a happy hour talking about sports or on the golf course, right? If you can get a round of golf in with someone like a lender or another, a potential partner, a capital partner, something like that.
Yes.
You can actually
Yeah.
get a lot, that's 4 hours essentially that you have one-on-one with somebody like that while you're doing a common activity. It's really seemed to make those relationship building a lot easier.
Yes. Yes. Again, it all ties back into relationships. Your interest in football ties to your interest in relationships and networking. Your interest in golf ties to your relationships and networking. Even your engineering, you used your engineering degree to build a relationship with that director to the point where you were invited to his home and you were able to make decisions. So I'd say, just observing our conversation today, everything with you really ties back to your relationships.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I want to tie that to deal finding as well, because that is essentially the reason why we went from kind of having a little success direct to seller finding deals to, oh my goodness, like we're really having success doing this. And it was that exact principle. And I can't remember who I heard it from. It was on a webinar or something like that, where there's like the trust pyramid. There's it's know, like, and then trust. So they
Yeah.
have to know you, they have to like you, and then eventually they'll trust you after you've completed the first two steps. And for us, picture this, right? We're having conversations with sellers, and we're trying to convince them to sell their property to us. So they know who we are, right? But when I'm on the phone with them or texting them, whatever it may be, whatever our marketing channel, at first I was only focused on the property, right? Hey, yeah, I need this information, I need this information, whatever, getting you an offer. And that's great and all, right? Obviously, you need that information to make an informed decision on an offer price. But what I was missing was they didn't like me, and they sure as heck didn't trust me. So when I was presenting offers to them, they just assumed that it was a lowball offer, because I didn't spend the time to get to know who they were, ask about their
Sure.
ask about their situation. Why are you even selling? Why would you
Right.
consider selling? You got any health? Like, is there some health issues in the background? Is there some financial stuff? And then once we started focusing on them as individuals, building the relationship, then you started to see, all right, they liked us, and then they trusted us when we present an offer, where they didn't feel like, hey, maybe they didn't feel like we were trying to like steal the building from the apartment from them. And that's been like exponential success as a result of just, hey, spend the extra time to get to know the people before you start, jumping in about all the business side of things.
Wonderful. That's powerful wisdom right there. We want to make sure that we share that with all of our listeners and ourselves. I love hearing this. Many of the universal concepts that you're sharing are things that we all need to hear over and over and over again. They need to be reinforced, just like if you're on a sports team, the way we need to practice fundamentals. So that's powerful, Justin. That's powerful across the board. Um, I could talk to you for a lot longer. We want to make sure we respect everyone's time, so we're coming to the close. As we wrap up, let me ask you this: what are you reading or listening to right now as you sharpen yourself and sharpen your skills?
A lot of Alex Hermosi. So I
Oh,
actually have
yes.
the $100 million leads book that I'm reading. Excuse me, the $100 million offers book that I'm
Yes.
rereading, and then I have the $100 million leads book as well that we'll get into right after that. And all that just is because we're doing. We have a platform now for other investors who want to do direct to seller, right? You mentioned it
Mhm.
earlier in my bio. Yeah,
Yes.
CEO, founder of NoStressDTS.com. And so that's just my way of giving back, trying to help other people who are trying to do this off-market deal sourcing thing, especially if you don't have a ton of capital. And
Right.
these books have been really helpful at trying to figure out how can we present like our best offer to everyone so that they're getting, maximizing the value of our clients, and then kind of what else we can add to it to help them succeed. Like, and so we've actually started tying our pricing. You'll love this, to performance, right? If you're succeeding, then if you close deals, then you pay us, right? If you're not closing deals,
Yes.
then it doesn't matter, because it works for me. I know it works for you, but if I can incentivize you to go and do one deal, two deals, that's really all it takes. You probably remember your first deal. Like, it was so crazy hard to wrap your mind around buying that first deal. You do
Yes.
one and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad, right?
Oh,
So
I get it
that's
now. Yeah,
like my
yeah, yeah.
goal, trying to get people over the hump is,
Yes.
hey, don't pay me until you guys get some deals done. I know it works. I'm fine. It's not my main business, but it's just my way of trying to give back a little bit and help out as much as I can for maybe people without a ton of capital that need to start sourcing some off-market deals.
Yeah. Well, certainly, since you're willing to put skin in the game, that's one reason why people trust you.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. No, like, trust. There it is. I love
There it is.
it. Way to
There
bring
it
it
is.
back.
All ties in. And then finally, Justin, how can people get in touch with you?
Yes. Social media is great. Cashflow Cowboy on Instagram. I'll put out all kinds of fun stuff and educational stuff, just try to help people out. And then if you want to, connect a little bit further, you can either go to nostressdts.com and schedule a free consultation call, strategy call, or you can check out my business website, www.cashcre.com, and we could talk about, potential partnerships.
Wonderful. Justin Cashflow Cowboy Wawrzyniak, a pleasure with you today, ROI podcast.
Thanks, Ray. I really appreciate you.